And
Is
then
that both projects to get that, or just
the first one, yeah. Yes,
Going back to the heating system.
Yes.
I have a question. Are you guys set in stone on a propane system, or did you consider any alternative energy systems?
we have considered other alternative energy systems. In fact, I don't know, if you looked at our website at all?
Yeah, but I must have not seen that.
That didn't help you? But what we have found for over the long haul, because we want to put a system in that will last for 50 years, and what we found out was that this was more economical for us to do this because it would buy us more time. And it isn't that we don't want to look at some alternative energy kinds of things, because we're willing, and we actually have some connections with the IRRB that we've got some funding available to do some solar panels and some different things, but that's kind of later. It's not for this part of the project, but we've been looking at some of that.
The main reason I ask is a lot of timber-rich areas like
Yep.
Idaho, Colorado, that
Yes.
you use wood biomass.
And we're a part of that biomass effort in Ely, and there's several people in here that are a part of that also. And we are a part of that group. So if Ely converts to biomass, with this new system we're looking at purchasing, we will be able to hook up to the biomass. So, what was that?
Well, there's a number of schools throughout the country that do it on their own right now. So you found it's just not feasible?
No, it isn't feasible right now, but when our city, if the city goes to it, we are jumping on board, and we're part of the city plan to do that, to be a part of their program, and what we would be able to just hook up, that biomass system would get hooked up to what we have going on. If that makes sense. Is anybody in here, who do I have in here that, Dave, can you help me out with that?
I guess what I understand you're doing is we'll eventually be converting to a hot water-based system,
Yes.
which would be very compatible
Yes.
with the Alternative Energy Task Force efforts of putting in a municipal biomass plant that would not only produce hot water for heating the schools, Vermillion College, a hospital, the homes.
Yep.
It would also generate some electricity.
Right.
Go from point A to point, let's say Z for now.
Well, how long would it take if the funding was available? It would probably take about a year. The problem is to get all through all the efforts to get it all approved and all done. How soon can we cough up that kind of funds? We're talking up from the $15–16 million.
So, that was a real good question. I'm glad you brought it up, but I'm wanting you to know that we're a part of that effort also. And again, it's been through some grant writing and so forth, that the school and the city, and this group, there's been several people from this group here that have been a part of that. So it is being looked at. It isn't that we're just saying, oh, we aren't going to do that.
Well, the school system is very much a part of the whole effort.
Yes.
And just to give you an idea, we have a grant right now for $50,000 that's putting together a detailed feasibility study. It'll have plans and costs and all that, and we expect to have that in November.
Yep. Okay.
Thank you for filling in, sir. Appreciate it.
And if you'd want to be a part of that group, talk to Dave and you could get hooked up to be a part of that group. I mean, because we want people on it that have knowledge in those areas also.
David, David.
Yeah, so, okay, and then,
We just moved here, we like that philosophy.
okay, on page 18, you'll see the breakdowns of the estimated property tax impacts. And that's what people are going to want to know also. And so for this project, which again, it's a facilities project, all properties are taxed on this, okay? So there's no taxable properties excluded from this, because this is a facilities referendum. It's different if there's different types. For an operating referendum, it was different. There were only certain groups that were taxed. So just so people know that, it's everybody that's taxed on this. Now, these are kind of little, some of these these slides here, but it comes up real nice on the computer too, if you decide to do that. But looking at the residential homestead, you can take, if your house is say $100,000, You can take a look at, well, what would question 1 cost, what would question 2 cost? And then also, we do have a expiring referendum that the district is choosing to not do again. So that's where there's a drop there. So in that $100,000 household, there's also gonna be $2,340 that is taken off, basically. So anyway, you can pick out kind of where your home would be, where if you have commercial or industrial real estate, seasonal recreational, you can take a look at how that comes out. So, and of course, it's always a lot. It's always a lot for families. But this is what we have, and if you can take a look at it and go from there. So, but it's my role really to just get the information out to you and to be a voice for the school, explain to you, why we need to go ahead and do this. But it's certainly, everybody has to do what they choose to do as far as for their family needs and so forth. So that's pretty much what I have. Are there further questions? Yes?
I'd like to back up to the number of students enrolling, and I don't even live in Lake County.
Yep.
But I have heard from 2 different sources that they feel, and these were parents, they feel there's a problem with bullying. And what are you doing about that? And what is the stance of the school system on that? And if that is going on, my concern would be you're losing students to homeschooling, so that's why I think it's important.
Yeah, and I'm really okay to speak to that, to bullying. I just had a conversation with Lori Kess yesterday on this topic. She's the assistant high school principal and the guidance counselor, and I had talked to her yesterday specifically on this bullying, and we were in the news. There's been quite a bit about bullying in the schools and how, students not here have been taking drastic measures where there's been suicides and so forth because of it. And what I said to Lori was, I said, what's so interesting is, I said, we're so small that we are able to handle what comes our way. Now, where we run into problems is if students don't inform us. Okay, so when a student comes to us and we've got a bullying problem, we're able to attack it right there. And the first thing we do, we find out what's been going on. We go to the person, they get their 1 warning, and then, but the student that's being bullied has to keep coming to us. Keep coming to us so we can stay on it and make sure that the problem is solved. And so I don't view, in Ely, I don't view that we have a huge bullying problem. I think every school, there's going to be some bullying. But I've worked in different districts where I've spent a lot more time as a school principal on bullying than what I do in this school district. It is, I've taught in Hermantown and Esco, and I've been a principal in Proctor and for St. Louis County. And in Ely, the culture in Ely is unbelievably better than in any of the districts I've worked in as far as behavior problems. And so I don't, and again, we can hear things and this and that. Sometimes I don't know if you hear it accurately, but I think it's okay to ask us. We don't have, right now, I'm not worried about a bullying problem that hasn't been handled, but the kids have to come to us. They have to keep coming back to us. And that's what we have to work on, educating them, and we try to do that, but more often than not, that's the issue. Another area of bullying that is hard for us to control is technical, with the cell phones, emails, those kinds of things. The bullying in those areas is higher than it's ever been because of the technology now. And so much of that, we get it at school, but it doesn't mean it's all from school, that, they're at home and they're texting and they're doing this and that. So anyway, but that's my perception of it.
What about parents that have a problem with the technical bullying? Do you have any programs that can help parents figure out how to help their kid better? Or? Yeah,
and the best thing with technology is, and this isn't easy for everybody, but the more the parents know about technology, the better off you are. I've turned into a texter because I have a 21-year-old and a 25-year-old, and if they're gonna communicate with me, I need to text them. And so you learn that as a mom, you know, that's how they talk to me, if I wanna talk to them. But more often than not, people don't, it's easy to not know, not understand the technology, or not, it would be very difficult in this day and age if you were a parent and you didn't have a computer at home and didn't understand it and didn't, that would be very difficult because it's wide open to problems. Wide open. You know, at school we now are, we have security measures put in, better now than what we've had in the past on our school computers. But when you think of at home on computers, how wide open that is if parents aren't aware of what's going on. And the kids are very good. They're very good on computers and they know a lot.
I'd just like to put in a plug for volunteers. I volunteer in 2 kindergarten rooms in Happy Days and in a 5th and 6th grade special ed class. These are short, periods of time, but school with kids, you are invested. And I know there used to be a volunteer coordinator, and I don't believe there is now. I think the job ended when we moved here, but I would encourage the school district to really encourage people to come in, and I know in some schools where there's been a lot of problems that having professionals especially come in after school and work with kids, it just fires kids up for school.
Yeah, I think you're exactly right. Now, if you know of anybody wanting to volunteer, please let one of us know, one of the principals know. Now, for ECR has been unbelievable for helping us. We've got after-school tutoring for our elementary and for our high school. So we're thrilled with the volunteer help that we have, but we'll always take more. We'll always take more. And I think a good thing is for when people are able to get into the school too, it's a lot of times different to be in the school and see what's going on when you're there. Because when you're on the outside and you don't really know what's going on, I think people sometimes assume, but we don't have a pile of bad kids. We've got a lot of great, great kids. And there's just a little handful of problem stuff. When you really look at the whole scheme of it, it's really a great student body that we have. And I'm not just saying that, it's a very good place and a very safe place. But again, we've got to deal with things that come up. There's going to be problems. It's always going to be problems, but then we have to be able to address them.
I got a question on the referendum. Initially, we're talking about a 4-part referendum at $18 million.
Right.
Now it's been pared down to a 2-part referendum at $9 million.
Mm-hmm.
What have we eliminated? What has been eliminated from the?
Well, the 2 parts we have are just the essentials. We got rid of some extras, but everything that was in the 4-part we still need. We still need all of that. We just pared it down even further to get that number down as low as we can. But if this does pass and we get through it, and this would be great, but it doesn't mean we'd be done. It doesn't mean we would have all of our facility needs taken care of, because we would not. I mean, what about the windows? What about the doors? And there's just so many other pieces that over time, they're still going to need to be upgraded. So again, it's, making a choice. I mean, we're choosing to go, and the school board decided, okay, let's pare it down and do less. And do less, and hope that, we can at least get that much done first. So if we get question number 1, great. If we get 1 and 2, greater. But we still won't be done with what we'd have to. Does that help? Yeah.